She thought she could cheat and walk down the aisle like nothing happened. But I wasn't the fool she married. I let her believe I was blind while I built the trap that would ruin her life. It began like any other date, or at least what passed for normal in the calm before betrayal. Lisa and I had spent months planning the wedding, spinning dreams I thought were solid. That morning, sunlight kissed her hair, and for a moment, she looked like everything I'd ever wanted. I missed the signs, the tension in her voice, the way her eyes drifted like she was somewhere else. I chalked it up to pre-wedding nerves. Foolish. In hindsight, we met at our usual downtown cafe, the kind of place where routine felt safe. But her smile didn't reach her eyes. She fidgeted, pale, said she was just nervous. I believed her because I wanted to, because love makes you stupid. That night, staying at her place, I found the truth hidden in a black velvet pouch inside her jewelry box, to hotel keys. One had her name, the other, a man I'd never heard of. My stomach twisted. That was the moment everything began to unravel. It felt like any other morning, if there even was such a thing, since Lisa and I got engaged. We'd spent months lost in wedding details, painting the future in bright strokes. I truly believed we were solid. That morning, sunlight poured over her shoulders like spilled gold. She looked serene, perfect, even. I didn't question the way her smile didn't quite reach her eyes, or how her laugh felt borrowed. I should have sensed it then, but I was too wrapped up in the moment. We met at our favorite little cafe, the kind of place where the world used to pause for us. She was already there, fingers drumming a nervous rhythm on the table. Her complexion was paler than usual. I sat down, reached for her hand, and asked gently, "You all right? You seem off." She forced a smile. "Just wedding nerves," she said, her tone light but hollow, like someone performing a role. I wanted to ask again, but she spun the conversation toward decorations and seating charts before I could dig deeper. Later that evening, I stayed at her place. We laughed over wine, exchanged stories, finalized plans. It felt normal, almost, but something tugged at the edge of my mind. Then I saw it. Tucked into her jewelry box was a small black velvet pouch I didn't recognize. Something about it felt out of place. I opened it, and everything stopped. The hotel keycards, one labeled with her name, the other with a man's name I didn't know. My chest tightened. My pulse thundered in my ears. My hands shook as I stared down at them, feeling the floor shift beneath me. I didn't storm out. I didn't shout. I just sat there, frozen, wrecked. The following morning, I barely functioned. She was quiet, edgy, kept her eyes anywhere but on mine. I waited for the right moment. Then I placed the pouch between us. "What's this?" I asked flatly, my voice sharp-edged. Her eyes widened. She blinked like I'd struck her. "It's nothing," she mumbled. "Just a mistake." "A mistake," I said, jaw clenched. "This isn't a forgotten appointment. These are hotel keys, Lisa. Whose name is on that second one?" She hesitated, then crumbled. "Mark. His name is Mark. It only happened once. I didn't mean for it to." I cut her off. Don't tell me it meant nothing while you're still hiding it." Tears welled. Her voice cracked. I was overwhelmed. "I made a terrible mistake. I was going to tell you. I was scared." I stared at the woman I thought I knew, and all I saw was a stranger wearing her face. That was the moment something inside me shut off, or maybe it switched on. I knew I couldn't react with rage. I needed control, because this wasn't about heartbreak anymore. It was about exposure. She thought she'd fooled me. She had no idea the game had already changed. I didn't confront her further that day. I played the role, pretended to move on, smiled when needed, but inside, I was building a case. I watched her like a scientist dissects a specimen. Her phone never left her hand. She clutched it like a lifeline. She texted in the dark, smiled at screens more than me, recoiled when I walked in. So one night, while she slept beside me, I reached for her phone password, her birthday. Predictable unlocked. What I found made my stomach churn. There were messages, dozens, some sweet, others so explicit I had to look away. She'd been in contact with Mark the entire time. Flirting, planning, sneaking. She said it was one time. That was a lie. I kept reading, every message another nail in the coffin. I scrolled through emails, DMs, even old deleted texts. It all told the same story, ongoing, deliberate betrayal. I returned her phone and stared at the ceiling all night. Now I had proof, but I needed more. I wasn't just going to end this. I was going to erase the illusion she thought she'd built. So I began gathering everything. Quietly, strategically, I followed her patterns. I tracked her exits. I took notes. She was careful, but not enough. One afternoon, she claimed she had a work meeting. I tailed her. She drove to an upscale office building I'd never seen her near before. I parked nearby and kept watch from a coffee shop across the street. 15 minutes later, he arrived. Marked out the man behind the key card. They walked in together, side by side, like it was routine. And then I saw her reach into her bag and hand him something. He smiled. She laughed. She looked safe with him. I took a photo. My hand didn't shake. I didn't go home angry. I went home ready. That night, I laid out the photo beside the messages, the keys, the timestamps. It was a full tapestry of deception. I reached out to an old friend, a private investigator, and asked for help filling in the blanks. Discreetly, while he worked, I kept playing my part. The loving fiancé, the forgiving fool. She had no idea I was watching her lie every day. Until one evening, I saw her sneak off again. This time, I followed with a hidden recorder in my coat and a body full of cold intent. They met at the same spot. She hugged him. He kissed her forehead. She handed him something again, documents this time. I took photos, captured their voices, and then I left. Now I had everything. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to plead. I was going to destroy the illusion she thought would protect her. She'd see everything she valued collapse in front of her, and I'd be the one holding the match. She thought she could cheat and vanish into the fog of her own lies. She thought I'd stay blind, passive, forgettable. She was wrong. What I felt wasn't just rage, it was a firestorm buried beneath skin. Every inhale burned. Every glance at her face, every echo of her laugh, turned into another silent scream. Inside my head, I could have confronted her, could have shouted, but I didn't want noise. I wanted impact. So I began with precision, quiet moves, careful steps. I called a longtime contact, a private investigator I trusted. I fed him just enough. I didn't need the whole truth yet, just patterns, her routine, her habits, enough to confirm what my gut had been screaming. While he dug beneath the surface, I stayed still, watchful. I studied her every gesture, her hollow smiles, her convenient silences, the way her phone suddenly became her fortress. Each moment felt like I was sitting next to a ticking bomb, waiting for the next light to drop. But I didn't explode. I strategized. The photos started piling in. Locations, times, hotel room keys hidden inside her makeup bag, and texts. God, the texts. But it was him. Mark. Had always been Mark. That's when I made my move. I told her I had a late meeting across town, said not to wait up. She played the role of understanding wife. Her face didn't flinch, but mine did internally, just not where she could see. I drove to a nondescript apartment I'd rented specifically for this operation. A clean vantage point. I'd rigged the living room with a discreet lens linked to a burner phone. I sat in my car, waiting. At 9:07 p.m., she pulled in. She paused, scanned the area, then headed inside. She didn't know I was watching. At 9:15 p.m., he arrived. They didn't hesitate. No fear, no shame. She opened the door with that knowing smile, like they'd done this dance countless times. He stepped in. She poured the drinks. That was my cue. I entered the apartment, silent as a closing casket. She turned and froze. What are you doing here? She stamme. Mark stood awkward, unsure whether to run or apologize. But my eyes were locked on her. No more games. I said quietly, I know everything, every message, every lie, every hotel room. She looked like someone had cut the ground from beneath her. I held up my phone and showed her the live feed of them from moments ago. Still wanted to pretend. Tears welled up fast. It was a mistake. I didn't mean. Save it. I interrupted. You meant it every time you snuck out. Every time you laughed behind my back. You just didn't think I'd catch you. I dropped the phone on the table beside her drink. Pack your things. You're finished here. She didn't argue. Just wilted and played small. Exposed. Mark didn't say a word. I walked out without looking back. The house felt like a mausoleum after she left, but something in the air had changed. Like a storm had passed, and all that remained was stillness. I walked into the bedroom, opened the drawer where I had found the hotel keys. Those little metal lies. I wrapped them in cloth and tied them to the lowest branch of the old oak tree in the backyard. I didn't want to hide the evidence. I wanted to mark the end. Let them hang. A warning, A reminder. The next morning, I cut them down and hurled them into the trash where they belonged. Then I sealed the final envelope. Divorce papers, a note inside. This isn't anger. It's freedom. I'm done. I stood at the front door and looked one last time at the shell of our life. The shadows on the walls. The empty air where love used to live. And then I walked out. She never expected silence to hurt more than yelling. But I didn't need volume. I had proof. I had clarity, and I had my freedom. You see, revenge isn't always about destruction. Sometimes, it's about standing tall in the wreckage someone else created and refusing to let it bury. She betrayed me. And I let the truth ruin her carefully built lie. Now I move forward. On my terms. Clean, unapologetic, free.